Okay, welcome to our next module where we will discuss keeping up with your sales records and customer contacts. So this is an extremely important component of being a great ranch office manager, as you would well imagine, because your customers are one of the most valuable assets to any business. So let's talk a little bit about managing sales records efficiently and in an organized manner. So at our operation, we have a two-part system for keeping up with sales records. And as you would imagine, it's going to be handwritten and digital. And I'll talk a little bit about each of those. First, let's talk about digital. The scenarios where I would create a digital sales ticket would be when someone emails in an order or calls in an order to the office. For example, I frequently get emails from longtime customers who may say, I need 100 units of semen on X bull, and we already have an existing client relationship. And so I simply just go into QuickBooks, create the invoice, and email it to them. The same happens a lot with orders that are placed over the phone. Another common scenario where I am only using digital invoicing would be when someone places an order in our online store. So when you're using QuickBooks, I know I've talked briefly already about how awesome QuickBooks is. I guess I should back up and say that we do all of our digital invoicing through the QuickBooks software system using their invoicing feature. And one of the great things about this is that it can be emailed instantly. And if you utilize QuickBooks Payments, the client can also pay the invoice online if they choose to. And this can often be done very quickly through email or text, and it really can streamline your invoicing and your collections workflow. I also mentioned before that QuickBooks Online offers an app. You can even do this invoicing from the app, and this is something that we do a lot, especially let's say we're at a stock show or an event, and many times people place their orders face to face, and they may walk up to me and say, hey, can I get 20 units on blah blah blah. It's as simple as me pulling out my iPhone, opening the QuickBooks app, typing in the invoice and emailing it to them right there, and they can pay online. So this is a really, really efficient system that really can help you as an office manager, especially if you're utilizing the QuickBooks Payments feature, because this payment will automatically sync to your QuickBooks program, and it's just really a dream. Another scenario where we're using digital invoices would be when clients place an order through our online store, which I haven't actually touched on this as much, but we do offer an online store through our website where clients can order semen, embryos, caps, even live animals are available in this store at sometimes. And so this again is easily integrated into QuickBooks through the Shopify app and the integration with QuickBooks. So these are all examples where my sales record process is completely digital, and usually these are handled directly through our ranch office or through me personally on my phone. Now let's talk about the paper sales records process. This is usually the process that is done when someone actually visits our ranch face to face. So very common when we're selling bulls, selling heifers, where Brandon will just write the sales ticket out there at the working pens while someone is selecting their bull. We actually have a carbon copy little binder that has a template sales ticket in it, and it makes it very easy for him to write a ticket and to give a carbon copy to the buyer, and then we have a good record of the sale. But no matter which system we're using, whether it's digital or paper, ultimately everything is input into our QuickBooks, since that is our desired financial management software. Then, once the sale has been, processed fully, meaning we've invoiced the buyer, we've received payment, the animals have been delivered, we've transferred the papers, whatever our workflow is. Once it is complete, then we take a copy of these sales tickets and we put them in a reference binder. We like to have one binder for each year of sales. Some people do it, maybe you could do it by ABC order, regardless of the year, but we like to do it year by year, again, so we can kind of refer back through the years. And then once it is transferred into binders, everything that is related to that sale is filed when it is complete. And so that's kind of a workflow of our system of our sales tickets. I did want to point out we have a copy of the sales ticket we use as bonus material in this session. So be sure to check that out. You may get some ideas for sales ticket that you could use at your own operation if you don't have one already. So another common challenge we faced probably about 5 years ago was that many of our customers are actually buying now over email or text, and they are not face-to-face. And it's getting more and more common because a lot of times maybe people will come to the ranch and look, but then they may not have made their decision yet when they leave, and they may call us back a couple hours later with their final selections after they talk it over with their family or things like that. Where in the old days, every single person that bought an animal we would see face-to-face, and so we would just get their signature face-to-face, right? But that's not the case anymore, and some of our customers we never actually see, especially if they're buying over picture or video or they're international or something like that. And so it's still really, really important to get some sort of purchase agreement or a bill of sale for every sale, no matter what. I know it's becoming more and more common to get your sales, do sales over Facebook or do sales over WhatsApp or whatever, and you may have a verbal agreement through those, but you do need some sort of official purchase agreement or bill of sale outside of those documents, again, for your files. And if you cannot get a signature in person, then the best option is a digital signature. And there are two services that I have used in the past that use this, being DocuSign and Adobe Sign. And so I would encourage you to look through that and offer that sort of option. It's very easy just to upload your Microsoft Word document or a PDF of something and get it signed. And then that way you know that you have a signed agreement so that no matter what happens later down the road, you can always go back and refer to the bill of sale to make sure that all the terms were outlined and both parties understand the deals. So another important part of sales records would be maintaining good customer contact relations, or as this is referred to a lot in the marketing business, CRM, customer relationship management. So in a ranching scenario, I found that, again, this is a common challenge because contact information exists on your customers in a lot of places. So ideally, if you're using QuickBooks or some sort of financial tracking software, you are going to have all of your contact information there in QuickBooks when you invoice the client. But you may also have some of their contact information handwritten. It could be, some of your contacts could be in Excel files. For example, when you do a catalog mailing list, maybe you get a membership list from your breed association or things like that. Email list are usually a whole nother aspect of customer contact records, especially if you're using something like MailChimp or Constant Contact, because people are signing up through your email list, but that information may not necessarily get conveyed to, your other list that you have going, so to speak. And then also pretty common is that the contact information is in individual people's cell phones, so it's very common for Brandon and I, if we're making a deal with a client that maybe we've chatted with over text or WhatsApp, we're the only person that has that person's phone number, and we might even be the only person that has that person's name because it's just been all direct personal contact, So then when we make when the sale actually occurs and we report that information to our ranch office, the ladies in the office are like, who is this person? What is their phone number? And we really had them nowhere in our system other than just a number on our cell phone. So it's also important to get that contact information accurately into your system. So the ultimate goal is to have one centralized place where the most current record exists on a client. And you could use a lot of different scenarios for that, but for us, that is QuickBooks. QuickBooks being because that would be the most accurate billing information, the most accurate email. And the other good thing I like about QuickBooks is it's easy to export your customer list into Excel files if needed. So if QuickBooks is your go-to organization for contact information, but then you have a bull sale coming up, well, it would be very easy to run a report on the customers that have purchased something in the last 3 years and download their addresses, and there you go. There's a list. We ultimately, if you are working with a printer or something like that, you are going to need to get your contacts into an Excel file. So we do use a combination or two-step process that is usually QuickBooks exported to Excel. And then in that Excel list, we try to keep a column that is just an internal reference of the last time we've had an interaction or the last time that customer has made a purchase from us. And we try to up that pretty frequently. For example, after every sale, go in and make a notation of who your buyers were or people who registered to bid in your sale, or do it quarterly with people who have made a semen purchase, or maybe make a take your ranch guest book and go in and make a notation of these people actually visited our ranch on a certain date. And then this can help you when it's time to make some data cleanup and management decisions to your list, because if you are making these accurate notations and you realize, maybe you haven't had a contact with this person in 5 or 6 years, maybe that's one that you could remove off your mailing list, if you needed to trim down your addresses somewhat. So I've talked a little bit about QuickBooks. We've also talked about Constant Contact and MailChimp. These are 2 more names that I want to toss out there for your review and consideration, because these are 2 very robust software systems that kind of take your CRM management to the next level. So these could be important if you're wanting to do email marketing. Salesforce is a sales software. This could be useful for larger operations who might have different sales reps, possibly different semen sales reps, because you can take inquiries and you can actually assign them to members of your team to contact. Same with Infusionsoft. Infusionsoft is a very powerful email marketing system and CRM, and these would be very high level tools that could help like an elite operation that had thousands of contacts that needed to manage them. But again, the most popular platforms for email marketing would be MailChimp and Constant Contact, because they're free to very minimal investment. But if you do want to expand your horizons, you can use Salesforce or Infusionsoft. So the main takeaway I want to share in this portion is that I really believe that your mailing list is one of your most valuable assets in a ranch and deserves your utmost attention. And so again, I know that managing customer data and addresses and things like that can be a big job, because I've done it several times, just trying to start somewhere. But it's definitely worth the investment to try to start assembling a mailing list if you don't have one, or if you do have a mailing list that you've neglected for a while. Try to start getting that updated with the goal of having a very accurate, updated sales mailing list and customer mailing list, because it will most definitely pay off for you in the long run.